the greatest advances of civilization, whether in architecture or painting, in science or literature, in industry or agriculture, have never come from centralized government. The freer the market, the freer the people. Free, like this person whose fridge is stuck on a software update and their fridge just doesn't work anymore. Hi, it's Divya. Welcome to the D-Spot. Designs that are so dystopian that it made capitalism stand up and salute, bro. My fridge had a software update and I can't turn off pop-up ads. Is this illegal? Imagine trying to open your fridge, but you have to watch a 15-second BetterHelp ad before you can. How is your own fridge a landlord, bro? Like, the only time that your fridge should stop you from opening it is if you're trying to attempt self-harm by like following a Jamie Oliver recipe.
Now chili jam.
When your legs don't work like they used to before. And that came, my gran had lost her ability to walk.
But I will say, I do appreciate historic moments like this one. I don't know if this is gonna tweet, I am talking to my fridge. What the heck? My mom confiscated all of my electronics again. LG smart refrigerator. Tamagotchi in the 90s was one of the biggest trends around 5 centimeters tall, and it also had sold around 40 million units by the 2000s. They're like modern day Labubus, except Tamagotchis were virtual and you could raise them from birth to mostly death, and they were like your own little emotional hostage, teaching millions of children around the world responsibility. If your family couldn't afford a real pet, this was a substitute. And if your family did have a real pet, you would spend more time looking after your digital one. It was feral, there was a lot of emotional guilt involved, reward loops, and you would sneak it in school. I'm not talking about Tamagotchi, I'm talking about nicotine. If you thought that regular disposable vapes with batteries sourced from child labor, cobalt mines, and LED screens were bad, meet the Tamagotchi vape. This is a vape where your Tamagotchi dies if you stop puffing. This is like emotional vulnerability biomaxing, and also a cheat code to ensuring that you'll never kill your Tamagotchi again, because your nicotine addiction will ensure that your pet will never die. But you just might though. This was made by Rebecca and Lucia for the New York University Stupid Hackathon, and originally they thought it would be useful to actually lock you out from vaping, so if you vape, your Tamagotchi would die, but they thought that it would be kind of funnier if it were evil. Now sadly for you, you can't actually buy this yet, but there are vapes with games inside. She's surfing on my vape till I crash. Slightly controversial. Pantone. Pantone are known for more than just naming color of the year every year. Pantone developed the shared visual language for standardizing what color actually gets printed. Now, bearing in mind, they didn't invent color, they basically invented the referencing system. At first, it was solving a real problem. Everybody cheered, right? But then it became a functional monopoly. It's the industry standard. Not only is it really expensive to buy their reference products, this is 1K, the total set is 9, and it also costs to replace it because it actually fades out over time. So every like year and a half, you actually have to replace them. But I saw this video by Business Insider called "Why are Pantone colors so expensive?" And they now have a new plugin and app which used to be free on Adobe, but now it's behind a paywall that you have to pay so that you can make sure that your files are like color matched. But you just have to listen to this quote.
That's just reality in the world, right? There's a lot of subscriptions out there. If you're a serious designer, that cost will be nothing.
And with no serious competitors, they can charge whatever they want. We love neoliberal elitism and reinforcing class hierarchies in the creative industries. Unrelated, Adobe cancellation. Okay, this is probably not what you clicked here for. It's arguably minor. I'm arguably just ranting a bit. But this is a dark UX pattern which causes the consumer or the user to engage in behavior in a little tricky, it's a little bit naughty, right? If you're unfortunately in the yearly plan, which is paid monthly, you have to pay to cancel like it's a divorce. Not only that, but life is now a subscription. Your memories, subscription. Listening to music, subscription. Using your car, subscription. If you're a designer, you know about subscriptions. Channeling these woes into an art piece using Kiddle, which doesn't require 100 different subscriptions for stock images, premium fonts, thousands of professionally made templates, or even the use of tools that save so much time. For example, the high quality background remover. Look at that, removed. If only I could remove my past history this easily. Kiddle's a very intuitive all-in-one platform which makes creating so much easier, faster. It's what I use for all of the graphics in this video. Juice boxes really remind me of childhood innocence, and I thought, like, let's just ruin that because the system is working exactly as intended. Kindle has a new vector suite feature which lets you use the pen tool to create your own vectors and shapes, edit the nodes, have an upscaler, or if you can't be bothered, there's even a vectorizer button. And to make sure that everything prints out correctly, you have margins, grids, and a snap to guide feature. So it's not truly this economy unless we put our design on like a t-shirt or something. We can use the Kindle's mockup feature to see exactly that. There is like so many to choose from. It's like, if you don't want a t-shirt, how about a tote or a definitely not Stanley cup? D is for Divya, but also a sucker for a deal. I want to make life cheaper for you, so not only is Kindle free to try it, use my link. If you want to use the pro features, there's also a 25% off code off your first month or year if you're a new user. If you use the code DIVYA, YT, DIVYA YT. So thank you to our friends at Kindle for sponsoring this portion of the video and also my pad thai addiction. Speaking of subscriptions, owning nothing but paying for everything. I thought it was just property. Amazon removing your right to download Kindle books. Streaming service just removing digital media forever at the press of a button. Now you could say that, well, they're technically just licensing products, right? You don't own anything. Yeah, okay, yeah. Do you also support the burning of Alexandria? Would you spare even half of an almond of a thought to not only the consumers, the enjoyers of art, but to the creators, to our heritage on this earth that isn't just microplastics and the idol and the weekend's freaky talks. You know what I really hate? The unreliable commodity of friendship. Friends come and go, but Galaxy AI has your back. This reminds me of Friend, your wearable AI companion. Venture capitalists just hear the word AI and they're spewing money from their gunk. It's like, you got too much money, give me some. It only costs $99 to be a loser. I can't imagine being a person with a relatively healthy outlook on life and sense of self along their user journey going, you know what I could really use? Here's the great thing about this AI. There is no emotional labor required, right? You are no longer burdened with the inconvenience of caring. The triumphs and defeats, the highs and lows of friendship. But instead, you are insulated by a frictionless AI, which will just, yes sir, I agree with you sir. The conversation on AI art has basically been beaten to death already. AI art bad, yes. But I specifically want to talk about the Ghibli AI art trend. Because not only am I a little bit of a Studio Ghibli weeb, but to do this to Mr. Miyazaki, who over a decade ago said that AI art was an insult to life itself, is particularly insidious. This is a man who spent over a year making a 4-second frame. Now you might think, yeah, but like AI art, I can make that same thing like 2 seconds typing it in. AI isn't able to actually feel how it is to watch the shadows from the trees dance in the light, or how it is to watch the land before time for the first time. Is that what art is? To be touched, thinking what we feel is ours when in the end it was someone else in longing who finds us. Ocean Vuong. I'm begging you guys to pick up a pencil, bro. In the beginning I did think AI art could be okay before you really think too deeply about the moral and ethical implications and honestly the spiritual implications of that technology. Standing plane seats. The argument is they'll say, hey, standing plane seats is great because it'll be cost saving for the consumer. No bro, it's cost saving for you, you capitalist pig. In reality, they just want to herd you in like cattle. Is that good for your back? If you are someone with like a disability in your leg, or you just get tired, or maybe you're a bit frail, fuck you, yeah, this is cheaper. So unrelated, but I found out that you have to pay for checked-in baggage and to choose where you want to sit on the plane. I know that traveling is a luxury anyway, but do I look like my uncle is the Duke of Wellington? Do I look like I have generational wealth? Stanley cups. I'm not gonna elaborate. They're half of £100. Water bottle that leaks. Bit of a moot point, but luxury fashion. These shoes that are worn. This is Gucci. Let's play guess the price. It's nearly £800. to look beaten. Babes, give me your brand new Gucci shoes. I will walk around all over town for you. I'll do that for 20 pounds. I'll do it for. Even 10. The economy is rough right now. It's the whole concept of cosplaying as poor. On a similar note, 14 karat gold clip. Guess the price. 1.1k. What? You wouldn't even be clipping up money with that. You would be clipping up all your Amex Platinum cards. Is that what they're called? I don't know. I don't own an Amex. I don't even. Speaking of which, Gales. If you're from the UK, if you know, you know. If you're American, Era 1, the commodification of space trips. There's a section in this book which dunks on Elon Musk, and you all know I'm here for Elon Musk slander. But it actually really made me think about the transformation of space into a sort of playground for profit. Just 70 years after Sputnik, SpaceX sent a 2008 cherry red Tesla into heliocentric orbit. This stunt immediately became a planetary sensation with viral images and videos. In a period less than the average lifespan of an American, the launch of an earthly object into space went from an event second in importance to no other to a spectacle of brand making. It is telling of our current cultural moment that technical achievements are fully enmeshed within a commercial project. It is very possible that Musk's goal of space tourism or even colonization will become reality in the near future, at least for a handful of very wealthy humans. Space is no longer a frontier. Space is now a luxury experience or opportunity for competitive advantage. Instead of creating visions for new ways of life on Earth, we flood the world and the cosmos with gadgets of minimal social value. When you look at the stars, do you not marvel at the bittersweetness of our insignificance? Or even think about the song Yellow by Coldplay. Instead, billionaires saw a vacuum upon which capital could project itself. They're literally above us and they feel like they are gods. It's like William Shatner trying to have a human moment with Bezos and just being completely ignored. And he wrote this: I looked in the opposite direction, into space. There was no mystery, no majesty, awe to behold. All I saw was death. I had thought that going into space would be the ultimate catharsis of that connection I'd been looking for between all living things. That being up there would be the next beautiful step to understanding the harmony of the universe. I discovered that the beauty isn't out there. It's down here, with all of us. It was among the strongest feelings of grief I've ever encountered. The contrast between the vicious coldness of space and the warm nurturing of Earth below fills me with overwhelming sadness. Every day we are confronted with the knowledge of further destruction of Earth at our hands, the extinction of animal species, of flora and fauna, things that took 5 billion years to evolve, and suddenly we will never see them again because of the interference of mankind. It filled me with dread. My trip to space was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, it felt like a funeral. And on that note, like for another video, what makes you depressed? Okay, bye!